In the realm of fantasy, where magic weaves through the mundane, there existed an academy dedicated to the art of spellcasting. Within its hallowed halls, young apprentices honed their abilities under the guidance of seasoned masters. But amidst this rich tapestry of arcane knowledge, there was one particular master who stood out. Not for his magical prowess or years of experience, but for his peculiar habit of disappearing just before the crucial moment of truth, leaving his apprentices high and dry during their final exams. Now, why would a respected master of the arcane arts engage in such antics, you might ask? Well, the answer lies not in malice or sadism, but in the simple fact that our dear master was utterly terrified of seeing his students fail. Yes, you heard it right. A grown man, a mage of considerable power, was scared of witnessing his students' failures. How did he come to be this way, you might wonder? Ah, that's a tale as old as time itself. Or maybe just a few decades. It all started when our hero, let's call him Master Archibald, first began teaching at the academy. Back then, he was a young mage himself, full of beans and brimming with confidence. He believed he could turn any student into a star pupil with his top-notch teaching skills. However, reality had other plans. The first time he faced the student assessment panel, a group of senior mages responsible for evaluating his students' progress, he panicked. You see, he couldn't bear the thought of his precious students being judged, labeled as inadequate, and sent packing back to wherever they came from. So what did he do? He faked a sudden illness, complete with dramatic symptoms like a hacking cough, profuse sweating, and even a touch of vomiting. Needless to say, the panel bought it hook, line, and sinker. Although some exchanged suspicious glances, and so the tradition began. Every year, right before exams, Master Archibald would fake a new ailment, each one more dramatic than the last. The students were confused, then amused. He was naturally gifted, but what really impressed Archibald was Ignis's drive to succeed despite his stage fright, which mirrored Archibald's own battles. Then there was Seraphina, a true prodigy with raw magical talent that outshone most students twice her age. Yet, despite her prodigious talent, she lacked confidence. She often felt unworthy of her own power, which was a stark contrast to Ignis's impulsiveness. They balanced each other perfectly and formed a solid friendship, always having each other's backs. As finals approached, Ignis was excited but anxious, feeling like he might not be good enough. He opened up to Seraphina about his worries, who listened patiently and then surprised him by revealing her own nervousness. It seemed that even prodigies had doubts. Meanwhile, Master Archibald was pacing his quarters, his nerves shot. He had already concocted his escape plan, a foolproof strategy involving a flock of trained pigeons, a basket of freshly baked bread, and a sturdy ladder. But as he heard the distant sound of students heading to the examination hall, a pang of guilt struck him. Was he really doing the right thing by abandoning his students? Just then, ingenuity knocked on his door, seeking his guidance. Archibald, taken aback, could only stammer out some last-minute advice before shooing the kid away. Ignas, feeling rejected, slumped onto a nearby bench, his spirits dampened. Suddenly, Seraphina appeared beside him, her eyes filled with understanding. She confessed that she too had been rejected by their master, but reassured Ingas that he was more than capable of passing the exam. Together, they decided to face their fears head-on. Ignas marched back to the examination hall, his chest heaving, while Seraphina sought out the headmistress, determined to confront her own fears. As they entered the hall, the other students looked up in surprise. Ignas had never been so bold, and Seraphine's presence was a welcome distraction from their collective anxiety. The examiners, taken aback by the sudden turn of events, cleared their throats and signaled for Ignas to begin his demonstration. With a deep breath, Ignas closed his eyes and focused his magic. A surge of power coursed through him, and when he opened his eyes, they blazed with newfound confidence. He raised his hands and a ball of fire erupted from his fingertips. The examiners gasped in admiration as Ingersoll continued to weave spells with a grace and precision that belied his earlier nervousness. Next, it was Seraphine's turn. She stepped forward, her steps firm, her gaze steady. She didn't need fancy spells or theatrical displays. Her raw power was a force to be reckoned with. As she unleashed bolts of lightning and conjured shields of pure energy, the examiners scribbled furiously on their tablets, struggling to keep up with her rapid-fire demonstrations. By the end of the exams, both Ingas and Seraphina had proven themselves beyond a shadow of a doubt. They had not only passed with flying colors, but they had also shattered the examiners' expectations and, most importantly, their own fears. News of their triumph spread like wildfire through the academy, and soon everyone was buzzing with excitement. Master Archibald, peeking from behind a potted plant, couldn't help but beam with pride. He might have postponed his own final exams countless times, but he knew that his students were ready, and that was all that mattered. The headmaster, her stern features softened by a rare smile, approached Master Archibald. His heart skipped a beat, bracing for a scolding. Instead, she clapped a hand on his shoulder and said, "I think it's time you faced your fears, old friend. Your students are ready, and so are we." And so it was that Master Archibald, hand in hand with Ingas and Seraphina, finally took his long-delayed exam, proving once and for all that it's never too late to face your fears and embrace your true potential.